Hello and welcome back to this MOOC on Risks and Risk Society. I'm Lola Pereira from the University of Salamanca. Because we are in a modern society, we develop new technologies to accompany us in this modernization. Some technologies are dangerous, but the question is not whether a given technology is dangerous or not, but whether the public and the society perceive this technology as being dangerous. The role of the university is to inform the society, the public in general, about these technologies and the possible dangers that are associated to them. For example, we have several fields, several areas like genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is a very important issue these days, and there are advantages, but there are as well disadvantages. So the university has the role of informing the society about both the advantages and disadvantages of the genetic engineering. Another issue these days, earthquakes. Earthquakes are natural hazards, but these days some earthquakes are happening related to human activities like fracking. Fracking is an activity dealing with extraction of gas from the ground, and it has been observed that by this activity some small earthquakes are happening and society is getting scared. So the university has to be able of communicating this and see whether there are advantages and disadvantages related to this activity. Another event very frequent is a flood. Floods are frequent everywhere, and of course they are related to natural hazards. There's a lot of rain, there is a lot of snow melting, and rivers are coming down with lots of water. But if there are enough infrastructures to stop this river coming out of its way, floods would not be produced. So the university and the institutions, even the politicians, have to explain to society what's going on with these floods. So in this globalization, who decide what counts as risk? Who decide what counts as cause of this risk and costs? Who has to pay for the damage? Because all these events can cause serious crisis, not only economic crisis, but as well sometimes deaths. We have several cases here to put as examples. A few years ago, an earthquake, a big earthquake, took place in central Italy, in Aquila. The people were not aware about this possibility. So the geological survey is now in court because the employers there, the geologists, were supposed to have informed the population about the dangers involved with this area, with the seismicity. Again, we have some minor earthquakes taking place these days because fracking, extraction of gas from the ground, and even because the storage of gas in the ground. This is the case of the eastern coast of Spain. A company was storing gas offshore, and by pumping this gas on the ground, some little earthquakes took place in the coast of Spain, where there were no earthquakes in the historical records. So the public got scared, started to find out what was going on, and at the end what happened is that the company that was storing this gas had to stop the activities. Of course, the company was going to lose a lot of money, so the company had to be compensated. The Spanish government had to compensate this company. If the government has to compensate the company, the money is going to come from us, from the society. A very bad case is that one with irreversible consequences, unlimited in time and space, that occur only after a long latency period. And we are talking specifically about the case of radioactivity from Chernobyl. nuclear reactor in Chernobyl exploded some 20 years ago, and the consequences were really terrible. There were many people dying. A lot of economic loss was involved as well. But the worst problem is that after so many years, right now, it still is affecting the area around. People are sick. The agriculture is contaminated. So the consequences these days are still affecting the area. So we have here a contradiction of globalization, because something happens in a country and the rest of the countries are affected as well. And who takes the responsibility for the national outcomes? Another example we can discuss here is the one related to the bovine spongiform encephalopathy, what was called the mad cow disease, that started in the United Kingdom in the 90s of the last century. A lot of money was lost because farmers had to kill many animals, and the problem is that the society was not informed. So who were the responsibles? Politicians, the scientists, the business managers, the society. The dominance of public perception is risk acceptability, because risk acceptability depends on whether those that are carrying the losses are receiving benefits as well. And again, a very common example we can discuss here is nuclear power. Nuclear power is very controversial. The ecologists are against nuclear power, but the people that are living close by a nuclear reactor are getting a lot of money from the government, because just by having a nuclear reactor close by the communities, they receive a lot of money, and they have a very low expenses related to electricity as well. So we can see benefits and contradictions about this nuclear power issue as well. The good thing about the modern society is that we've made risk a topic of public debate. Now we have many communities discussing about the single issue, and sometimes we have politicians against the scientist. Who has the role of communicating risks to the society? Here we have to be very strict, because a bad communication policy can take to the collapse of the markets, like we saw, for example, when the mass media took hold of the problem of the mad cow disease. Farmers had to kill many animals. Nobody knew whether all meat was containing this bad protein, so people stopped eating meat and there was a collapse in the market. Another issue is all radioactivity dangerous? Well, radioactivity has advantages and disadvantages, and we have to be able to communicate this to the society. Because, for example, if we go to the hospital to have an X-ray, or if we need a treatment for a tumor, we receive radioactive in our bodies. Is it good or it's bad? Well, we just have to see the advantages we get by receiving this radioactivity. But we have to know that there is an area of medicine is related to radioactivity, and by receiving this radiation, we are going to get better, maybe. So, as conclusions, we can say that in the risk-sensitive social environment of World Risk Society, organizations such as the university have to realize that crises do not always have a clearly identifiable origin or cause. Organizations such as a university have changed their role from safety culture based on the acceptance of residual risks to a culture of uncertainty. And finally, organizations, such as the university, cannot stop making decisions, but they will always be judged by the consequences and side effects, ignoring their good intentions. Thank you.